So
right.
this webinar is about quick ways to make sure your marketing's driving sales. The key talking points we'll cover today is why integrated marketing is key. Craig's then going to take us through what lead magnets are best, and then systems to start the conversation for your sales team to move them along the sales funnel to purchase or engage with your business.
Yep.
So the first one, why integrated marketing is key to driving sales. When we talk about quick ways, integrated marketing is one of the ways to make sure that your marketing is fostering sales. To define it, integrated marketing insists on a consistent, seamless, multi-dimensional brand experience for the consumer. So whether they're seeing it in SEO, whether they're seeing it in social media, whether they're seeing a brochure at a trade stand, everything should be in sync and in harmony, reinforcing the brand. And the facts prove that we've got to do that often in multiple ways, because it takes people 5 to 8 impressions for them to even recognize your brand. That's why we hear the same campaign on radio, the same annoying ad on TV over and over. And then if it's reinforced in social media and other mediums, it's powerful. And studies have shown that revenue can be increased up to 23% just by presenting your brand consistently across these multiple platforms. So that's one way. Presenting a united marketing front. There's some examples of campaigns we've put together. With integrated creative and key messaging that's on sync, you can increase your brand recall and generate many more leads. This might be obvious to some of the people here today, but you'd be surprised the amount of businesses that don't integrate their marketing or their creative campaigns. Craig? So you get more visibility and awareness, enhanced recognition and familiarity by doing it. You get increased trust for your brand, and you increase the likelihood of prospects buying your brand, therefore increasing the results for your business and your sales. Having this integrated marketing and consistency is crucial, but it's also crucial along the entire buyer journey of your prospects with your business or brand. If you think about it, how long, and we'd love your input through the chat, how long are your buyers on their journeys before they find out about you in the first place? And then maybe that's through SEO or a trade show, or they've seen it on a social ad, before they actually buy from you or take on your services. For example, for us, someone might come across our brand in LinkedIn, and generally speaking, before we engage or have them as a client with us, it could take up to like 3 months, sometimes even 6 months. So for us, it's crucial to be a part of their journey and be fostering the connection over that time. So how long are your buyers? Has anyone been able to contribute some quantities?
Willem's saying 6 months or more for him.
Right. Yes.
Willem, it'd be good to know what industry you're in, if you wouldn't mind putting that
technology.
In the chat. Okay. Yeah. Right.
I'll go in the chat. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Happy to.
No, please do.
I'm in technology, but I'm in the new niche, technology writing, and it's fairly unheard of. But people are aware of it, and it takes quite a long while to come back. There are lurkers on LinkedIn.
So, Craig, perhaps we show the next section. For example, a buyer journey. If you've got an emergency and you need a plumber, you could be contacted within an hour. They've got a blocked sewer. You come up first on SEO. You're visible. That's all they need. Our internet provider, however, their customers can make a decision within a day, but also they've got an incredible drop-off after 9 months. So they have to maintain their buyer's journey along that entire 9 months from day one to 9 months for them to then stay on and not drop off. Our luxury home client, from the first time their clients might see an ad to when they sign the contract for their $1 million property, it's an 18-month journey. So we've got to remain connected and top of mind for that entire length. That's really important to understand with your marketing and campaigns. Next slide, Craig. So the crucial part of this is to initially get the awareness, then you move them into consideration, then you move them into the actual decision. Craig will talk about consideration and decision. But if you've got this multi-level integrated marketing throughout all of these, you've got much better chance of making sure your marketing connects with sales. So in the various stages of your marketing activities throughout this buyer journey, there's various activities that you can do, all consistently, of course. So in awareness, of course, you've got to be on page 1 of SEO. If you add AdWords to that, you'll increase your chances of visibility. You add social media to that, social AdWords, etc. This will all increase the frequency, visibility, and your brand awareness before you move them into the next stages. Next slide. Again, these are the various activities that you can have in the awareness stage, all increasing your brand awareness, all leading to your website. And if they're integrated, you'll increase your trust and potential of sales, and of course, your visibility. Would you believe that 50% of businesses do not have an integrated marketing strategy, therefore minimizing the effectiveness of their campaigns and return on investment? And this is what it looks like. If we could have the whole campaign, please. So they're doing the various bits and pieces. They've got some SEO and they've got social media. They might have brochures and they're doing ad hoc advertising here and there because they're trying different things, but they're not necessarily integrated and they're not necessarily feeding the website to then nurture and generate sales leads for their sales teams. And yeah, as I said again, this might seem so obvious, but you'd be surprised the amount of business that we come across that this is how they're doing it. Unlike the ideal, which is this approach. So this is the ideal integrated marketing mix where with consistent creative and all leading to next steps and calls to actions, taking a prospect through awareness, through those activities, to consideration with additional activities, to additional ways to nurture through decision, all leading to the website, all leading to a CRM. And a CRM is something like HubSpot, a customer relationship manager system. Next slide. So that's one quick way, is integration, being present through the journey of your customers and making sure it's all seamless. Is there a question to the group? How many of your marketing campaigns are integrated and feeding your website and CRM for sales? Would anyone like to? Is everyone doing it, or is perhaps people in the group that realise that perhaps their integration is needed?
Willem's saying that he doesn't, but he's a one-man band. But in saying that, Willem, there's still little things that you can do, or even around the integration. You might not necessarily do all of these things, but if you've got some basic SEO at least, and even some basic social media, you can just feed them to your website, or at least point them to your website to at least understand who you are, what you do, and why you're better than the next person.
All righty. Well, that's part 1. I'll hand over to Craig now for part 2 and 3.
Yeah, still think about it. If you want to answer some more questions at the end, that's fine too. All right, so this part now is where we're going to dive into the second part of what lead magnets are best for generating sales. So we've obviously talked about the awareness stage, which is understanding the brand and what the brand is and what it does and who it serves. But now once we've got them interested, we want to then have some mechanisms for your marketing to capture them and capture their details to start that initial sales engagement. So I'm going to list out some examples of what that would sort of look like. So we've gone through the awareness stage. We've got them now to the consideration stage. Now we want to entice more interest and get them to engage with you. But before we start all that, I mean, great, you've got all this marketing going on, but it's good to understand before we put some lead magnets in place, we want to understand more about the customer, understanding their needs, understanding their aspirations, the challenges and possibly their problems. Also going even further to understand their age, their lifestyle, their behaviors, their motivations, etc. So that way, if we can determine that, makes the creation of those lead magnets so far much easier to implement and also create content for. So some of these ideas for lead magnets could be a tip sheet. So a bit like our luxury home builder, you might have a top 10 mistakes of building on slanting blocks, or if you're wanting to add in a pool for your backyard, they're consideration topics that people would want to know more about because they've obviously seen your brand, they know about it. Okay, well, I want to know more of how you can help me. Obviously, some brochure download, that's obviously a given. So you give them the opportunity for them to download either a product sheet or an overview, maybe it's a company overview. Some blogs. Blogs are the gifts that keeps on giving. Nat's got a blog that she wrote in 2017, I think, about winter tips for winter. That gets one of the highest hits always, even though it was written 6 years ago.
Winter marketing.
Yeah, that's right. E-guides again. So you might, whether it's about the brand or maybe it's a particular product that you're trying to promote, just have a mini e-guide of what that looks like, sounds like, the features and benefits around that particular product. Tailored resources, another good one. So these are more defined topics of product sheets or data sheets or technical information that people might want to know about it. So I guess, Keith, for you with video, you might have some tailored resources around, creating the right corporate video presentation or doing vlogs or product demonstrations. You might give some insights on how that might look and sound. Webinars, a bit like what we're doing today. Webinars are great because they're a bit more interactive. So obviously with downloads and resources and tips, they're one-dimensional, essentially just allowing the user to read. But with webinars, it can become a bit of a two-way street. We can actually answer some questions on the fly as well. White papers are another good resources. But essentially, we want to, out of all of these mechanisms, we want to try to provide as many opportunities as possible to capture their details and start that sales conversation. I guess think about it as more as like if you're going fishing, having as many fishing rods in the boat as you can, because the more fishing rods you've got, the more opportunity you're going to catch that fish. So what this whole journey thing might look like is obviously you've got this marketing happening for your brand. You're trying to capture that ideal prospect. You want to have those mechanisms in place, because if you don't, then obviously that's potentially a missed opportunity for your business. But once we've got them, they get to fill out their form. Obviously their name, email details, their company details, etc. That all feeds into that CRM. I think having a CRM, if you don't have one, is very important, because what that can do is start to qualify and profile that prospect. Because if it goes into a spreadsheet, or if it just goes into that form, goes lost into your website, then again, it could be a lost opportunity, but you don't know enough about who they are, where they've come from, how they've found you, what other products they might be looking at. CRMs are really good at that, because they'll be able to tell you, okay, well, this particular prospect has clicked on this page and has looked at this page 5 times, or has opened this email before, or you start to understand some initial customer journey, even just from a free CRM component. All of that is then fed to the salesperson. So the salesperson has got some really good information about this potential prospect and whether it's a good fit for them, which then in turn gives them permission to start engaging with that prospect and start feeding those brochures or data sheets or other resources. So for companies that do have that longer buying cycle, you do have permission to start sending the material to start to entice them along and start to get them to learn more about your business or products that they're trying to learn about, which ultimately starts the sales conversation. You have that permission to start engaging with them. So before I jump into the next part, but any just a couple of questions, do people have lead capture on their website? I mean, do they have some sort of mechanism? I know, Richard, from your previous company, we put a chatbot on your website, and that was a great way to engage with prospects. So it doesn't have to be lead capture, a capture form. A chatbot is another way to really engage.
I think, Craig, I was just going to think, as well as facilitating the sales, once you've got captured the lead information from a download, the form capture, you can then continue to market them through your e-newsletters. You have permission to continue conversations and just being top of mind.
Yeah. Simon has said yes. Simon, it'd be good to know what mechanisms, don't put it now, but later in the chat, if you've got some current lead capture or other downloads that you're using, it'd be good to know what they are as well.
And what has been most effective?
What has been most effective? As we know, chatbots are effective. People tend to engage them more, and coming out of COVID, I suppose we've all been on the online scenario through COVID. People have got familiar with that now, so they can look up and research stuff, and then obviously dive into a chatbot and start having almost instant conversations with their potential business straight away.
And as Richard found with his previous business, the catalogues were a fantastic way to generate sales leads through the various parts of the business on various product ranges.
Yeah, absolutely. Simon's we've got a quote form and downloads for a white paper. Fantastic. Yes, again, quote form. So it's just having those little type of mechanisms on your website to show that you've got you want to engage interest, you want to engage in conversation. So one of the things that we do see quite frequently is where might have a great looking website, but they sometimes make it so hard for the customer to engage, whether it's having their phone number down the very bottom of the website or their contact form just doesn't work. It can be very frustrating for the consumer or the customer. But by having multiple ways on your website is obviously going to increase your opportunity to start having those conversations. And also, I should just point out, don't be afraid to have a lead capture form on every single page, because people will come through, might not necessarily come through your front door, i.e. the homepage. They might Google a particular service or product, and they might land on that particular product on that page, not go through the homepage first. So if you've got a particular product page, they come to it and there's a contact form or book a meeting or something on that page, please do it. All right, next one, we'll keep moving along. So now, once all those mechanisms in place, we've got some great awareness going, we've got some lead magnets on those pages. Here are some simple tips to just at least start that sales conversation. So now we've moved them along the journey to sale. The decision stage is basically the stage where the person is read all the information, has been won over, is interested, and feels like this is for me. Okay, they've making a decision to move to basically engage in the sales process. So what that can look like is, obviously you've got the lead capture in the CRM. That lead is then fed into the sales team. It gives the sales team the permission to call or email them to follow them up straight away. And as Nat said, also gives them permission from a marketing point of view, because they've been captured into a database. You have legal permission to start marketing. They might not necessarily be wanting to buy right now, but at least you've got permission to start marketing once a week or once a month or once a quarter, however frequent you send your e-newsers out. And it also gives you further permission to send other marketing material. So depending on, this is where CRMs are great, because if you can identify in a CRM what pages they've looked at or what products they're interested in, they might be, looking for a particular product on a particular page, and then one of your salespersons can go, well, hang on, I specialize in that. Here's some data sheets on that particular product that you might be interested in, or here's some tips on how to use that particular product. And simple ways that you can automate this. Again, you don't have to rely on a human to be involved day in, day out. So if there's an inquiry that comes into your page, great if if you've got the time to jump onto that lead and follow that lead up personally. But if you don't, there's some simple ways you can automate that. So at least there's systems in place that can do that for you, and all you've got to do is basically start to engage in a phone conversation or turn up to a meeting. So think that what that would look like is, and again, I see this quite a lot because it's a missed opportunity. So if you've got a download or a resource for a lead capture on your website, send them a thank you email straight away. I've seen so many sites where you enter your details or even sign up to a newsletter and you get bupkis, zero, nothing. You can easily build in systems that straight away say, thank you, Craig, for downloading XYZ or looking at XYZ or reading XYZ, because you're obviously, they've given their details over, they've given their name and email, but you're responding to that to say thank you. And then with that thank you, again, you've got the permission to engage next, but as part of that thank you, make an introduction to yourself. If you're within a big sales team, or if it's just yourself, to say, hey, this is Craig, this is who I am. If you'd like to schedule a call with me and speak about that particular product, here's my link to book a time with me, or here's my phone number that you can call at any stage to, again, start in that sales conversation. You might send them another resource, again, send them another type of product brochure or a how-to or even a video. All good things to keep your brand top of mind. And give them a lot of value in terms of that sales process.
And with a CRM, this can be all automated, so you're not actually physically doing it. Yeah.
So you really want to serve the customer, serve the interest that they're engaged in, and obviously, and depending on that buying cycle that we talked about at the start. You can send them, if it's like that home builder, it was 18 months, you'd have to serve them quite a frequent different materials along that buyer's journey, or what we call as buyer's journey, to keep that brand top of mind, keep them interested so they can convert into the sales process. So best practice is always make sure that there's a next step in that journey. So going back to that initial integration map that you saw, we're connecting those dots. So whether it's a blog or whether it's a brochure or whether it's an email or an e-news, or sometimes even on your social media posts, always have a next step. Book here to chat to Craig, or book here to chat to Natalie, or book here to chat to Richard, or whoever the salesperson is. Always have that facility there because you're wanting to engage. That's where I talk about that, having that book a time on that piece of material. And then for any call requests, if it's a call request that comes in, if you ideally get back to them with the first 10 minutes, that seems to get a much higher conversion rate if you can just jump onto it straight away. If it's more of an online download material, 24 hours is always the best approach to start to engage them. So if they've downloaded a tip sheet or a brochure or a product data sheet, always respond. Again, can be automated, but if you're doing it manually, always respond within the first 24 hours to say, hey, thanks for downloading that. Would you like to schedule a time with our sales team or a demo team to learn more about that particular product? And lastly, so it's just some quick questions, group. I mean, first of all, do you use a CRM? That's a common question, because we do come across a lot of businesses who still don't. But CRMs are very, very powerful, especially for sales teams, but even for marketing. You can understand where they've come from, what they've looked at, et cetera, et cetera. So does anyone use any automated systems at all, or is it all pretty much manual still? I'd like to know that. Simon, you've said you've got a quote form and obviously downloads the white paper. It'd be good to know if there's any automation built into that. Okay, so it's very manual. Again, I'm happy to chat more about that at another time, just how to put some automation in place that can free up your time, so it's less manual or less manual for your sales team as well.
And, with something like HubSpot, it's free for, very basic and very basic model, but great functionality.
100%. Yep. So Willem's got no CRM. Again, Willem, plenty of free ones out there that you can start using straight away. So they can just plug into your website. The form can then capture that data into Keith is using Streak. Oh, I've never heard of that one. Is it a good one, Keith? Yep, you're saying yep. Okay.
I'll just unmute. It's integrated with Gmail, so that's where it's really handy.
Yeah, okay.
It sucks all the emails in from Gmail.
Oh, great.
So that's fine.
And Willem, yes, we get that about websites, and because they need to make a good impression, they need to have that integrated, consistent, creative with the key messages. So we'll talk to you more about CRMs if you need that help in future.
Yeah. Willem's just asking to share that Streak link, Keith, if you've got it there handy, or a link to it. Richard's surprised. Yeah, obviously, Richard and I have done some training with HubSpot previously, and it does have a lot of really cool features and functionality. Richard, are you using it for your new company at all in the free version? Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Okay, let's talk. But yeah, I mean, there are a lot of good free CRMs out there. I guess the important thing is to have one that not just there to capture their name and email. That's the basic functionality, which is great. But if it can give you that more detailed information about where they've come from, how did they find you? Is it SEO? Did they click on a social media link? Did they click from a paid ad? Did they watch a video? That's good data to understand whether your marketing is working as well, because you'll be understand what they're engaged with. Obviously, getting learnings on what sort of company are they from, what job title they are. All those are really good relevant information, especially when you're talking about the profiling of a prospect. If you're looking for a certain person in a certain industry at a certain revenue bracket, CRMs can tell you that as well. So that way, which ones whether to chase, or you think, oh yeah, that's not my desired particular customer, I'm not going to bother follow them up. So it allows you to profile them in a much better way, so you know which ones to chase. Okay, so some five, basically out of these three topics that we've talked over today, there's the 5 key takeaways if you haven't listened, but these are the 5 main ones you can walk away with today. Obviously, having an integrated marketing with a consistent creative and message with multiple touch points in the awareness stage is going to be going to give you great results. So, as Nat pointed out before, you don't necessarily have to do everything under the sun, but if you're doing some basic SEO, some AdWords, so even through social media, just make sure that your messaging, your offer is all consistent across those multiple channels, because you don't want to have that disconnect of talking about something on SEO, but then talking about something totally separate on social media. People can get confused, and that's where we talk about integration, is everything's got to be consistent and a seamless approach.
Yeah, and I'd just like to add to that, no matter what the budget is, you've really just got, even if you can only afford social media and SEO, you've just got to make sure that you're getting that frequency, and that frequency will be more effective, whatever your budget is, if it's consistent.
100%, yeah. And again, this is where those lead captures can be a good feeders as well, because if you've identified who your audience is and what their needs are, you might create a lead magnet piece on those ton tips, like I guess for Keith, like talking about that video scenario on how to shoot the right action shot, or how to shoot the right corporate promotion. And then you've got a tip sheet, then that tip sheet would be the same heading you'd have in your social media piece, but it'd be the same heading on your landing page that they come to. So it's like tick, tick, tick. It's building that familiarity across all of those steps of the lead journey into your website. Tip 2, so obviously provide valuable, relevant content that is a solution. Solution is key. So a great way to, when you understand who your customer is, understand what their problems are. And if you can be the solution to that problem, there's a really good synergy and marriage happening there. And that's the ideal scenario of drawing in leads for your lead capture and prospects. Having those automated systems, again, if you're obviously with if you're a one-man band, you might be tied up in doing the day-to-day. So having those little basic automated systems can make things so much more easier, even for larger scale businesses, because if you want that frequency of leads coming in, you want things to be far more automated, not having someone there 24/7 just answering inquiries. So, but just simple things, those auto response emails, just to say thank you. Another automated email, maybe 3 days later, to say, hey Craig, thanks for downloading that. Would you like to know more? Here's my calendar booking. We can have a quick 15 or 20-minute discussion. All of those downloaded materials should always have a call to action. Again, blogs, resources, downloads, case studies, tip sheets, white papers should always have a next step. Let's start that conversation. And then also, once you've got them, they're in your database, keep on nurturing them. Again, they might not be, as I said before, might not be ready now, but they might need that longer buying cycle. You can keep nurturing them, adding extra additional marketing material, as Nat said, just having those regular e-communications out, getting them onto a specialised database even of whether it's by product or whatever, just to say, hey, here's a new release, or there's actually a sale coming up. Would you be interested? All that sort of stuff. Okay, question time. We've waffled on enough. We'd like to open up to the floor and answer any questions. Moira's had to drop off, but thanks, Moira, for attending. We'll be in touch via email anyway. But if anyone's welcome to take yourself off mute. Ask any questions, whether it's in chat or on voice. It's totally up to you. I'll open the floor.